Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swaglock, and with me today, as always, we have Chicken. Chicken, how's your week been, dude?
Yo, what's going on? It hasn't been too bad. Whew. In the throes of the real world, though. Oof.
I believe it, man. Because
it's been one of those weeks.
Well, going back to work, but you still have the new baby around, right? And
yeah.
So, figuring out everything, trying to make it all work out together. I'm sure it's quite a lot.
Yeah. I'll be honest, and I like honesty. Honesty is a key in life, right? I have only played like 2 hours worth of WoW this week. Not even. Maybe only
rough.
like an hour's worth of WoW. I literally got on like an hour before we're filming this, and that's all the WoW I've played this week.
Oh no! Well, don't worry. I've been in plenty this week, trying things out, practicing healing, warming back up on DK. Later this weekend, I think tomorrow, hopefully, I'm making the hard push to finally finish KSL. We'll see. I say that all the time, but I don't know, man. I got scared for a while and then played my healer, but I'm back.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, right?
It does.
You know, everyone, everyone has these kind of seasons. And it kind of worked out. It's towards the end of the season, and it's gonna suck when like the new season drops, and I'm gonna be like, oh, what do I value more, like WoW or my sleep? Like, literally, that's what it's gonna come down to. Is like, can I function off of like 5 hours of sleep, or do I want to play WoW?
Ooh,
and they're probably gonna like trade off some nights. Probably would be my guess.
They might have to stock up on an energy drink. I can't say which energy drink because we haven't gotten sponsored by one yet. But when we do,
oh my gosh,
I'll be able to put a name. I'll be able to put a name to it. So anybody who wants to sponsor us, please. Swag needs some more caffeine.
Yeah, a energy company that has yet to be named. Oh my gosh, that would be kind of cool.
It would be, dude. I've been playing Classic, Pandaria Classic, Mr. Pandaria Classic. Not. Let me clarify. I haven't been playing it seriously, right? So I'm not like leveling up a character and like going out and like trying to do like raid and dungeon content. Literally, all I'm doing is just leveling up through the starter zone so I can get the dragon mount. Have you done that yet?
No, I haven't. Dude, Classic, I can't do Classic. Classic makes me like wanna. Bro,
you've literally been farming like dungeons and raids nonstop for mounts this month.
Exactly.
It's not that different to just go and just do a bunch of like mindless quests.
What do you mean?
It's like 10 levels. It's like 10 levels of quests.
Like, leveling to me in Classic just is so much harder.
It is.
Yeah. No. Leveling to me in Classic is just so much more difficult. And I don't even know if it's just like the leveling in itself.
Okay.
I think it's just I think it's something I've talked about a lot before. I think it's just the fact that the game itself is just so different. Like, the UI is different. You know, the gameplay in general is so different. Like, it almost feels like, I don't want to say slower, but like maybe a little bit slower, right?
For sure. I mean, it's designed to slow you down a little bit more than retail does. Two things I will say, though, that I've really appreciated, and maybe we'll talk about both of these. Really appreciate while playing Classic, though, and specifically Mr. Pandaria Classic. One, I feel like my attacks are more meaningful. Like, when I press a button, I feel like that button does damage. Whereas right now, I don't really feel like I have any button on my keyboard that just like chonks health, right? Again, I'm not really like going out doing too much solo content right now, so maybe that's part of it. But it does feel like, you know, pressing a button is more meaningful. Second, and this is maybe a more minor thing, maybe a more major thing. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's a major minor. However, I do love in Classic that casters can just move while casting.
What?
And
no, stop.
Yep. And Blizzard, you know, maybe take another look at that again. Maybe think about it one more time. You know, maybe decide that might be something we want to see come back. Okay, all I'm saying.
I mean, that would be kind of cool.
Dude, and you know how dumb I felt? Because I figured out around like level 6. And so like obviously on the shaman you start out, right? And like your lightning bolt, whatever it's called, is like your only attack, right? And so I'm sitting there, and every time I'm casting, I'm just like standing still, like, okay, I stand still, can't interrupt this. And then at one point, I went to go move while casting because I was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna have to interrupt my cast and move to go like." Because it was, I don't remember why. I think I was maybe attacking the wrong target, and I figured I would just move instead of moving my hand to hit escape. Right? I guess not that far to move my fingers to do that, but whatever. I was lazy. Okay, I was lazy, and so I go to move. And I just keep casting. I'm like, wait. And I totally forgot.
Wow.
I totally forgot because I played Resto Druid a lot back in Mists of Pandaria. That's what I rated on. I say rated, but I'm pretty sure I just did LFR back then. I was kind of a dumb kid.
Resto Druid. You know? Oh, I'm pretty sure when I first started, no lie, the first thing I ever played was a Druid, and I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I think it was. Like, you just basically did the tutorial island, right?
Yeah, and I don't even know why I brought that up right now. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, maybe you told me to play a Druid, but then I was like, wait, that was classic.
Druids are interesting because I feel like they're so cool. Druids are so cool, but it's hard for me to suggest Druid as like a starter class for somebody. Because Cat is basically rogue, right? And rogues are kind of a pain. Trying to like...
Oh, dude, rogues are rough, bro.
I like them, but for a brand new player, trying to figure out how to utilize like combo points and stuff is a little bit of an odd mechanic. Yeah. On top of that, you have balance, which is, again, balance is really cool. I do like balance, but then again, balance is also kind of uniquely built, right? It's not as straight. It's better than I think Cat Druid, but still not quite as straightforward. Bear is easy. Yeah. Bear is easy, but I don't always suggest starting on tank because then when you go to like learn dungeons and stuff, dude, it's not a
never start on tank.
Right. You know, it's not the worst, but people aren't going to treat you well, which is the trade-off. And then Resto, I think, is again, Resto's a little bit more on the complicated side for a healer, right? Like I would probably go Resto Shaman or like Holy Priest instead of Resto Druid. So, anyways, why was I bringing that up? Oh, because I tried to get my wife into WoW a little bit ago, and she started on the Druid, and she went with Cat Druid, and I was just like, oh no. Like, and so sure enough, she gets to like around like level like 16, and then like just kind of loses all interest in playing. Can't even really figure out how to attack very well. Like it's a pain in the butt. She's not having any fun. Not having any fun. And then recently, I was able to get her to play Hunter instead. So I was like, hey, let's just try it one more time. Why don't you just play Hunter? And she's like, do I have to level all over? I was like, I know, you're gonna have to level all over again. But she played Hunter, and she was really enjoying it. She was like actually genuinely just having a fun time playing Hunter. So it's just different. It's just, you know, Hunter's a lot more beginner friendly, right? I would always say like if someone's like getting into the game for the first time, Hunter is a good one. I think Paladin is generally a good one. What else? What else would be like a good starting class to play?
Honestly, would probably say Fury Warrior or Frost DK. Boom. Easiest two classes to play.
Yeah, Frost DK is not too bad. Only problem with Frost DK though is especially now that Breath of Sindragosa is not really a thing, right? Like you're not like trying to like uptime to the max.
Oh yeah. Breath of no.
But the only thing with Frost DK is you do have to unlock DKs first, right? So I don't think, unless they change it, I'm pretty sure you can't just make a DK right off the bat.
Yeah, you can. What are you talking about? No, stop.
I'm pretty sure you have to unlock DKs, which is not hard.
No, you don't. No,
I think you just have to get to level 10. I think you just have to be at level 10.
No, you don't.
But you can't do DK on the starter island.
I'm gonna Google this.
Well, because Death Knights were the first hero class, right?
Yeah.
And so DKs, I think they start at level 10 by default, not level. Because originally, so when Death Knights first came out in Wrath of the Lich King, I believe you start at level 55. So like you would make your DK and you like spawn at level 50 or level 55 or something. And I think you're like basically level 60 almost by the time the quest, like the opening quest is done. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty confident about that. So yeah, you can't start as a DK right off the bat when you get into WoW. If you want to play one, you at least have to basically finish the tutorial island, and then I think you can go make one. Which again, which isn't the end of the world. Go make a paladin, right? I don't know, maybe that's more lore related, right? Make a paladin, finish the tutorial island, and then go make your DK, and you'll
Oh
start
my
at basically the
gosh.
same level. So maybe
Yeah.
it's not the it's not the
Right.
end of the world. Yeah.
Or just play Rep Pally in general, because I feel like Rep Pally is probably just as easy.
Dude, Red Pally is pretty easy to pick up and learn. I will say though, again, with all of these things, like easy to learn doesn't mean it's easy to master. It just means it's easy to like learn, right? And those are two totally different things. Because I do think there are some specs that are just hard all around, and then there's some that I
Yeah.
think are a little bit more beginner friendly. But that doesn't mean that it will always be beginner gameplay. It just means that it's a little bit easier to pick up when you're getting into the game, and feels a little bit more intuitive, especially with such a heavy proc-based system that we have now in WoW.
Mm-hmm.
But all that to say, I've been leveling a shaman, can run while I cast. I don't remember how we started talking about druids, but I do think, if Blizzard wants, maybe they bring that idea back. I don't know, Chicken. What do you think?
Moving for casters?
Yeah, how do you feel about letting casters move again?
I think every class almost has like a way around it.
Right, because I have like on my shaman, I have Spirit Walker's Grace, but again, it only lasts like 20 seconds. But maybe that's part of it. I guess part of my question
I think that's
is
part
like,
of it, right?
part of my question is, I guess, is like, what's the trade-off, right? Because for casters, you're constantly trying to move, and like especially like big combat stuff like M+ or raiding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And melee doesn't really have that problem, right? Because they're just
not
attacking
really.
as much as they're moving. But maybe melee has to dodge more, and that's the trade-off. Maybe for melee, it's, hey, you're not being interrupted, but because you are constantly dodging more, like it's taking up brain power in like a different way than casting. Because I don't like. It's not like I look at the DPS charts that like Wowhead puts out or whatever, and I go, oh wow, it's always melee on top and casters on the bottom, right?
Yeah, right.
So it's not really. But is that annoying gameplay? Like, is it annoying gameplay to have to always move? I don't know. But also, I think of dudes like J-Rob, right? I'm watching him play Mage, where he is like, he's big braining it, and he's already thinking about how he's going to move and where he's going to move when he has to move. And so he's just like porting over, right? Like, I think about my shaman when I'm healing, right? And utilizing things like Spirit Walker's Grace, or using like Gust of Wind just to like quickly get a cast off and then get out of like what I'm in. Those things can be really fun. Like, is that more fun than just being able to move while you cast?
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'm so weird because I feel like I really didn't play caster and kill until I can't even remember when the first time I played a caster, but it felt just so weird playing a caster because pretty sure like the first 2 years that I played WoW, I only played melee. And moving into a caster was just such a weird role because I was like, wait, I kind of got to manage where I'm going as well as when I'm doing damage with, in a melee, you never think about that. You're just like, oh, I can move and do damage at the same time, right? It's not that hard.
No.
But honestly, casters are hard to play. To be honest, I don't really like playing casters. I kind of just, mage isn't bad because I think I've played enough mage, frost mage at least, where it's just like, everything else is just kind of hard. I'm a melee man. I'm telling you. Even in heals, dude. Even in heals, man. Play a monk. That's a melee heal class in my mind.
Yeah, they're fun. Well, I mostly agree too, right? I want to like a caster though. I like really want to enjoy casters. Sometimes I feel like casters are like a big brain, but then again, everything's a big like. I don't know, man. Because I think about like people I know that like really excel on casters and like how much they have to think and like pre-plan ahead. But then I think of my friends who play like melee specs and they're also doing like not the same things, but they're also doing like equally complicated like processes and stuff. And so it's just I think it really ultimately comes down to like what flavor do you like, right? Like that's really the question. Is like what excites you when you're playing WoW? And I do love that we have a game that like kind of lets you just do it all. You know what gets me? Skyrim. I know this sounds like off topic. Every time I've ever played Skyrim, I always tell myself I'm like do a different build. Every time I play Skyrim, I'm like I'm gonna make a warrior. I'm gonna make a caster, whatever. Every freaking time, dude, I end up becoming like a stealth archer. Without fail.
Oh my gosh.
Without fail, dude. No matter what I try to do, I become a stealth archer. And sometimes I feel like WoW's that way, where like I'll try something else. I'll be like, I'm gonna try and play my Warlock, right? Because I have a Warlock that occasionally I'll level up because I think maybe I'll finally learn how to DPS, and I should. Some of it I think is because I use the handle Swaglock for my content, and so I'm like, oh, I gotta play a Warlock. It's on brand.
Gosh.
That's not where the name comes from, for anybody wondering.
Gosh.
But I think maybe I gotta play Warlock because it'll be on brand. And by the way, I don't mind like Warlock. Like it's enjoyable. Like actually, of all the casters I've played, Demo Warlock is actually one of my favorites. I think. With that said, like I just find myself going back to like playing tanks or my Resto Shaman. Like it's sometimes Holy Pally, but that's hit or miss. Maybe I should try other healers. But usually, just like go back to tank. Like, dude, you could put me on any tank and I'd just be happy. I like the style of play, right? And it kind of reminds me of Skyrim, right? Like
tanking.
No matter what I start it with, I always end up just kind of like, I don't know, man. I just kind of find myself going back to, my comfort zone, right? Wherever I start, I always end up back on Stealth Archer, right? Like, what is my Stealth Archer of WoW, which for me would be tanking. Brunick, I think you're still listening in. Drop a comment, Brunick, because I think I see you swap seasons between what your main is more than I see myself or Chicken doing. I swap maybe. Man. This season's like my first time in a while I've changed my main, right? Because I'm coming up to play Shaman next season. So I want to hear. I just want to know what his thought is on that. By the way, for anybody who wants to know, we are actually recording this episode live. I think moving forward, we'll record most of our episodes live for our Patreon listeners. So if you support us on Patreon, we'll be recording in a more public channel on Discord for people to listen in and give live feedback as the episode's going on. It's just something we want to be able to do. It's easy, and we love to kind of thank our Patreon supporters for supporting us. It's huge, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, it is right. Like I don't think I do swap my main too often because I kind of know what I like. And I think you play. I know you play Frost DK, but I've seen you like try to or Unholy, really just any DPS DK.
Yeah, whatever's the best. Yeah, I mean, I feel like every season, and even I do this with my alts. It's mostly my alts. Like I'm always gonna main DK just because. Yeah, it's kind of just it's my thing. I really like DK. It's the first class that I actually really liked in WoW. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with it, right? And most of the time, it's either decent or like semi-relevant, so it's not like, oh, I'm just playing like a dead class, like I don't know, like marksman hunter or something, right? Or like some like dead in the water class that like is doing nothing. Like I'm not playing Aug Evoker right now, right? So at least it feels like somewhat good, but every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like play something different as my alt, and then I feel like I always go back to monk, like healer monk all the time too. I don't know, man. I'm a man of easy taste. I mean, just give me the same thing all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, even that's what Brunick said in the comments, right? Basically saying that like he likes trying variety, and so he'll try out different classes, different specs each season. But he does find himself like over time gravitating back to his shaman and his rogue, right? Which I think Brunick's a little bit better than you or I are, where we'll kind of haphazardly play something on the side, but then like have our like DKs as our main. Brunick, I think, actually like commits better than we do in terms of like he'll really like commit to a role. But I do know what he's saying because I do see him go back to his shaman and go back to his rogue quite frequently. Although I do wonder, right? Both of those are dual wielding melee specs. You know, could we see a Frost DK Brunick in the future? Theory crafting right here.
Maybe. Oh my gosh.
Maybe. Well, I was gonna say Fury Warrior, right? Like with the big two-handers, but then Fury Warrior feels too like it feels too far away. Whereas like Frost feels like it at least carries some of the casting feel from from Shaman, right?
Yeah.
But anyways,
I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah. So that was, but I don't remember how we got into this conversation. All that to say, coming from Classic, there's just a couple things I noticed that I was like, oh man, I do feel like these might be beneficial, even just to have the conversation around them. Not that they have to change, but just the conversation of like, is there a benefit to just letting is there a negative really? I guess is the question. Negative to letting casters run while they're casting all the time. Like, would that at least alleviate button bloat? That's like, hey, you know what? Actually, here's less that you have to have on your bar, and less you have to think about. Maybe it's fun though. Maybe it's fun to have to think about it, so leave it. Or the other question of like, hey, do attacks right now not really feel meaningful? Like when I press my buttons, does it not feel as meaningful as much as it feels like filler in between my procs, right? I don't know, but I do think it raises those questions. But Chicken, what's been going on in WoW this week?
Hey, not too much. That was our long-winded intro that we always do, and we're never going to stop doing, basically, right?
Nah, dude, we never even know where we're going with those. Those actually are never planned into the episode. We just know that we'll end up talking about whatever's on our mind.
Yeah, it's more like I'm just like, hey, Swag, what'd you do this week? And then I set a timer for 20 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, after this, I'm going to start talking about other things.
Oh, my gosh.
But, hey, this is a big week. And this is why I'm like, I didn't even get to play this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the last week for mount farming. It's been a long road, man.
Dude,
and I know there's one mount.
You know who's gotten no mounts this month? None.
No way.
None
you haven't gotten any? Oh, man.
None, dude. You know why? Because anytime I have a mount farm, I'm only going to ICC. Like literally all my mount farming time is right into ICC.
You haven't done any other ones?
Nah, dude. I only one's invincible.
Oh, I thought you might at least try to do like some jailer runs, to be honest.
I've heard, dude, the jailer mount is sick. I probably should have done that. I'm single-minded right now. I want that.
I've never seen the jailer mount drop outside of like one person in our guild getting it. Like I've literally never seen it drop.
That's also one of the harder ones though, where you can't just like spam farm it, right? Because like right now, I'm literally going on any character I have that's like level 70 or higher. I'm like running through ICC on. I could probably take a level 60 in there just fine.
Oh, easily, dude. Oh my gosh.
Right,
dude, you could easily take a level 60
but that gives me like so many alts I can just run in there. Heck, I got a level boost right now sitting on my account that I haven't used. I'll just level boost another character to 70 and then run it through there, right? Like, right? Like, I mean, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And so it does kind of ultimately raise the question of like, is the jailer one on the same trajectory as the others or the same plane as the others? Because again, I don't know how Shadowlands Dungeons feels, but I imagine it being only 2 expansions separated at this level, like you probably want to be running with max level characters, and it's probably even at that point better to run with friends than to run solo.
I've seen people solo the Shadowlands ones, but it definitely takes time. I've basically only been doing group finder with people that have the skip, and that's what I've been doing, right? I haven't I'm not trying to run the whole dungeon or the whole raid. I just don't have time for that. But really, I mean, I've done a couple just ones that I'm like, I had time, like when I was still on paternity leave, not for 4 weeks. Basically, during the duration of this event, I was like, I got time. I'll run other ones. So I've definitely gotten a few.
Like, did you time the birth of your child to be right so you have maximum availability for farming?
Imagine. No, dude, this event just kind of dropped, bro. This event wasn't even planned. They were just like, hey, we're gonna do this, and it was the most successful event I'm sure they've had in a long time.
I know we've talked about it before, but it really is crazy how loved. But again, though, how often can you do an event like this where just hey, that thing that you normally have to work really hard for? Here it is. It's very easy now, right? And it's also tough too, because this is one of those things where I say it's hard to work for, but hard to work for just means that you might have to do it a lot, and you might not have to do it a lot. It all just depends on luck, right? It's complete RNG.
It's all luck. Yeah.
And so, but even still, even with that in mind, how often can you offer that, right? I don't know, right? Imagine the Blizzard was hey, look, we know you guys are working towards KSL. For 1 week at the end of this season, you get double points from dungeons, right? But again, that's maybe a more skill-based thing, where running old content doesn't feel like a skill-based thing. So it wouldn't. But still, though, the point ultimately I'm trying to make is how how often can Blizzard do something like this where they go, hey, we're gonna make something that's normally a challenge and normally something that you get to kind of show off a little bit, we're gonna make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is happening once every couple of years, that's not too bad. But we've talked about before, like you just want to be careful that it doesn't get to the point like Amazon Prime Day, right? Like you don't want this to be the Amazon Prime Day of World of Warcraft, where you're like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until Amazon Prime Day and then I'll buy that, right? Like how, or like Black Friday or something. We're like, I'm just gonna wait till Black Friday to go buy that thing. Amazon Prime Day is on my mind because it's July and we just had it, and so that's why I was thinking about it. But it applies to like any of those kind of like sales holiday type things where you're like, oh.
This will be hey, we haven't done this. I mean, I don't think we'll see this event in a long time. Like this event isn't going to happen again.
I hope
years.
I hope this is a once an expansion event, not a once a season, right?
An expansion?
I'm
thinking it's
yeah, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it might be once every other expansion, once every third expansion, to be honest.
Once every trilogy.
Oh my goodness. But like I think they can focus on other things when the time comes, right? Like, hey, like they didn't add I'm sure there's certain mounts that they didn't add in this that they could, right? So and I think they're very strategic about some of the mounts that they did pick. And is there like, hey, could they have picked different mounts versus, some that people might have wanted to see more, right?
Yeah. Well, I think
sure
pretty much any like old content mount was available, right? Anything that was like farmable, I think.
All of them.
I will say though, I have heard people mention that they think that the numbers aren't quite what Blizzard said they would be. But again though, it's all RNG, so how do you truly measure that?
So they released a Wowhead article about this, and I think it was wasn't last. I think it was a couple weeks ago. And I never brought it up because at the time I was like, this isn't really irrelevant, or this isn't really relevant, right? This is kind of like, and they kind of talked about that, like, hey, they did like a bunch of numbers, and the numbers seem to come or be pretty relevant. That like, hey, the stats showed that what Blizzard's saying the percentages are pretty dang true.
Okay, good. Because I will say I have definitely run ICC over 20 times, and I have not had any luck whatsoever.
Well, I won't get into it because I definitely ran like 50 times until I got it.
That's true. I mean, and part of it too is right, like that's just how odds work, right? It's not like your chances go up, and then by the 20th time, it's like, well, this is your 20th time running it, so it's a 100% chance drop rate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I've played enough. I've played enough D&D to know I roll ones anytime it's an important roll. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, let's just say that your boy here rolling ones right now on ICC.
Yeah, you definitely are not rolling. I tried to do ICC and I got lost, so I was like, I'm gonna wait for swag because he can just use my lockout.
That's true, dude. I like ICC because it's just a lot of RP. You're just dealing with a lot of RP. Luckily, everything's easy to kill, but just so much RP.
I got stuck on the dragon boss. I just couldn't figure it out.
Oh, what character were you in there on?
My DK.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I'm pretty sure you're about to tell me what I thought, and I'm like, what?
Did you bring a bandage gun with you?
No.
Yeah, so DKs can't heal other people, so you actually can't do that fight. But Blizzard did recently, very recent, maybe it was just for the event actually, they changed it, but they recently changed it where they made that boss skippable. Like you can just walk around the boss, and the door's open behind it. Yeah, they like open the door behind the boss, so.
Oh, well, I didn't know that, and now I do, so I guess I'll go back and try that.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're supposed to
run it
heal.
on our bonus content.
Yeah, bonus content. We'll run ICC.
Because I'm like basically done with it.
That makes sense. Oh, was it like the last two bosses you needed before the Lich King?
Yeah, I'm like... So,
that sounds about right.
What can you do, right?
About right. Yeah, that's a bummer, but it is what it is. But I'm glad to know, though. I'm glad to know that numbers actually feel... Because I think as a player, sometimes when you're doing this stuff, you're just like, I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like the odds are what they said they are, right? But again, we're talking like what, 5%.
Lucky, right?
We're talking 5% drop chances, and even though it's 10 times higher than it was before, it's right. 10's a huge number, but in this case, it's not a huge number. So you still have to be like kind of okay with what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the ones that I've done, the Jaina mount that you get from Mythic, I think it took me like 4 tries to get that. Gmod took me 50. The Underrot one, it took me about the same as Gmod. Actually, I got Gmod and the Underrot mount back to back.
Really?
So that felt pretty good.
Yeah, it felt very rewarding.
The Dazar one from King's Rest, I didn't get that. I farmed it probably about 40 or 50 times. Midnight, not the original Karazhan one, but the Return to Karazhan. That only took me about 4 or 5 tries.
Okay. And that one as a dungeon you could just spam, right?
Yeah, that one's super easy. That's just a mythic dungeon that you can just kind of go once a week, and it's pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. As a mythic, it's once a week. It's not like
Yeah, so, but I mean, I got it. So, and then I got another one that, I did a couple times. But, I mean, it's one of those events that I think it just brings people back into the game, right? And, kudos to Blizzard. It doesn't cost anything for them to do this event. It's kind of just one of those things where, hey, people enjoy it and it kind of just works, right? So
yeah, I mean, the negative is like ultimately now a lot of people are getting mounts easier than they would have before, so how much more game time are they going to put in? But also, I don't know, man, maybe it's me, but that's not like, I think it's fun getting this stuff. I think going and running that content over and over isn't the most fun gameplay. So maybe it'll incentivize players, hey, look, I got some of the mounts I want, now I can spend a little bit more time doing other stuff. Or they'll just continue to.
They'll just continue farming ICC because they never got it.
ICC for days.
Anyways, hey, this is the last week to do it, so I'm telling you, you gotta run all your ICCs and all your, I guess everything else that you want, right?
That's what I'm doing. I'm running it all. By the way, though,
use a WoW token.
Is there
or not a WoW token?
That free character boost. I don't even know what I would boost. Well, that's like the weird thing right now. Is like I don't even know what I boost because I think anything other than like a rogue, I have at least at 70, right? Yeah. And so I'm like I've been like sitting on that forever. I'm just like I don't even know what I would use it on. I guess maybe if I like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't make a lot of characters of the same class though. Maybe I can start doing that more. Maybe. I
mean, I'm pretty sure you have 2 DKs, right?
Yeah, I do have 2 DKs. Maybe I can make a third. Maybe I should prioritize 1 DK as like not playing blood but trying something else. But even still, having 2 DKs, one was like a joke character I made for a meme video, so it wasn't even like a real character that I was like, I'm so excited to have this character. I'm not like, what's funny, for as much as I talk about how I think WoW needs to revamp their leveling system and make it like a little harder and more compelling, I'm not a huge alt leveler. Which I think maybe I would enjoy it more if that was the case. Maybe I would enjoy it more if leveling felt meaningful. Yeah. It just doesn't feel meaningful right now. So maybe that would change that for me. Yeah.
It feels kind of rough.
Yeah, right? It's just kind of like, I don't know. The way leveling feels right now, it's just kind of like, how do you get through it as fast as possible? And not like, oh, how do you explore the world? I want leveling to feel like you're exploring the world.
I mean, I agree.
The trade-off then becomes when, like, my guild goes, hey, Swag, we don't have a rogue next season. Can you switch to rogue and main that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's going to take me 2 months.
Dude, that's never going to happen. Stop.
That's going to take me 2 months to level up a rogue real quick. Or right, somebody's like, oh, hey, I want to try this out in M+. And then, so I think that's sometimes, I want to figure out how to say it. Sometimes M+, especially M+, but Raid feels this way too, but I want to say especially M+, it feels less like an RPG, and it feels more like your standard, like queue system game, right? So like, I know you'd be like, well, but LFG is more queue system than M+, I get that. But it feels more like that game that you just boot up, like you're playing Counter-Strike and you're like, I just want to be in good, or like Overwatch, right? You're playing Overwatch and you're like, oh, I could play any hero in Overwatch because I can just switch between them and try them out, right? And I think sometimes WoW is kind of trying to balance the two, where it's like, hey, I think M Plus is actually a really fun and compelling, challenging gameplay system that, like, on its own, like if that was all WoW offered was M Plus, could actually like still be a enjoyable game that a lot of people love. Right? Like no leveling, no gear acquisition, right? Like maybe you're just getting skins and appearances instead. And it's just like, oh. And I know there was that one game that just came out recently that like tried to do that. I just think WoW has it more developed. It could work. And I think that's the trouble WoW falls into, though, is it kind of has to live like it's still an RPG. At the end of the day, it's an MMO RPG, right?
Yeah, MMO RPG, baby.
But does that ever end someday? When the systems in WoW, like the game systems, become so good that it's just like, no, they're actually going to focus more on those systems that they have rather than the MMO experience. And I know there's people listening to me say that and they're like, Swag, that sounds horrible. I will hate that day. Well, guess what? I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you. I want WoW to keep the charm it has, to still be an MMO, to still be an RPG, to still have world building development. And it feels right now like sometimes the leveling system kind of gets shoved into the gutter because it's trying to allow the game to be a kind of like almost like a queue system game where you're just like, I'm just leveling,
Sure.
I'm logging in to play this class today, right? And I want to play a mage now in M+, but I don't want to go through the process of leveling a mage. What's the fastest way I can do it? And with with the existence of leveling, tokens or the free like level tokens, then like that makes it a little tough, right? Makes it hard for Blizzard to be like, well, we want this to be compelling, so we're gonna make it take a little bit longer and be a little bit more world building-y. And then players can be like, Blizzard, you don't even really care because see, you allow us to just buy tokens anyways, so you don't even pretend you care, Blizzard, right? Which is fair. That's a fair argument. But then it just, I don't know, it just means that Blizzard can't do anything. Like, there's nothing they can do. They can't make their game more enjoyable. They can't do whatever because people will be upset no matter what. And by the way, if they got rid of leveling and they just said, you know what, never mind, no more leveling, we're just going to have you just go, like, right to max level every time you carry a character, and that way then you can just explore the world as is. And if you want to go out and pick up lore and do quests and things, that's on you. If you just want to run M+ all day long, that's on you. They could do that, but then that would also upset a lot of players. So ultimately, man, it's one of those things where I don't think Blizzard can win, but I do think the bigger concern for me isn't the person trying to just level a bunch of alts, isn't the person who just wants to do M+, isn't the person who wants to go out and explore the lore of the world. I think, to me, the biggest concern is the player who has never played WoW before, creating a character for the first time, and it all feels convoluted, and it makes no sense, and you feel like you're plopped down halfway through the story, because you are, right? You feel like you're plopped down halfway through the story, and nothing at all makes sense. That to me is, I think, the issue, and I don't remember how we got into this conversation. I don't remember.
I don't either, to be honest,
farming.
but I feel like
12 point or 11.2 updates. Chicken, what's happening? What's happening in 11.2?
I will say that topic that you're kind of just brushing on, there is kind of a listener question with kind of intertwined in there, so we'll definitely talk about that a little more if we get there. If not, we'll probably get to it at some point, maybe next week.
I know there's some discussion about it on our Discord today, which is probably why it's on my mind.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again.
I think there's a little conversation of it on our Discord today, which is why it was on my mind. I think
okay, yeah, that's kind of yeah. No, I feel that. Hey, so as always, I feel like there's some more class changes. Obviously, look at Wowhead if you're interested in seeing what those are. It's always going to be some class changes, obviously. I think the biggest news this week comes in a couple different forms. There's three ones that I found. It looks like there's a huge buff to the back wrap thing that's supposed to be like your, go-to back next season.
Yeah, the artifact cloak, right?
Yes, the artifact cloak. That is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, apparently it got like a huge like 100% buff for like every class, like 150% damage increase, like 150% healing, like 150% like all the like crazy buff.
Dude, it's looking like next season might be like very juiced overall.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it.
Which I don't know if I have an issue with. I think to me that's fine. It'll mean that eventually we'll have to do like some sort of stat squish before the next expansion comes out. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me.
No, it doesn't really bother me either, to be honest.
And
but...
I'm more of a fan of like something fun that we get at the beginning that we can keep powering up and making stronger, rather than like the last 2 months of the last 2 months of the season. It's like, here's a random belt that you can get from doing delves, and it'll make you extra strong, right? Like, I don't know. I like something that feels like a little bit more. To me, the cloak, the artifact cloak idea makes way more sense. Also, just from a lore standpoint too. Like these items that they've been adding in each season make no sense. And I know, Chicken, like you don't care about lore, but like for me, it's kind of like this delve belt is very obviously like, oh, we just want a belt for the delves, right? Why couldn't they have just made it like a really cool like goblin tech thing, right? Like why like the ring last season? Why did I have to? I don't know. Right? To me, it just feels like it all feels fragmented and unrelated to what's going on.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah,
like,
I mean,
the cloak to me
that
just
makes
feels,
sense.
Yeah, the cloak to me feels way more, because I guess it's like related to the Rishi ribbons probably or something. So it feels a little bit more lore driven, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Right. To me, it's like, it's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't mind that kind of stuff. I think.
Brennan,
I think in the middle of the season, I like it.
I think I said.
What'd you say?
I think I said Rishi ribbons. Brennan, correct me. Said Rishi wraps.
Yeah, it's Rishi wraps.
Wait, is that
Rishi
what the back is called? Actually.
Yeah, Rishi wraps. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. See, that's definitely lore related because that has to do with how the ethereals like survived being turned into void creatures. Okay, makes sense.
No, I mean, I think it's cool. Like, I kind of like it. I'd rather be like, I do agree with you. I think I'd rather be like in the middle of a season than at like, or in the middle or at the start of an expansion. Sorry, I'm like fluttering my words here. Then just like randomly at the beginning, like it just doesn't, or randomly towards the end, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, I just don't care about it as much. I don't want to put as much work into it. It just, yeah.
Well, in this season, we had a lot more of it. We had a lot more of this season. How did you feel about multiple times during the season having these power increases go on, right? Especially when like a lot of it's related to like achievement things, right? AOTC, Keystone Master, Hero, Legend. Even I don't really care too much about it, but even like getting like title range, right, for M+. How did you feel, Chicken, personally, with all the like incremental? Because we're talking about it right now. Those incremental power increases we kept getting throughout the season, which is really kind of a first for us.
I mean, I think it's cool because some people just don't, I always kind of take it back to like some people just don't have a lot of time to play WoW, and it kind of helps them get to a spot where they can almost gear up. I don't want to say quicker, but maybe quicker is the right word.
Yeah.
They just can get to a point where they feel like they are definitely able to do the content that they want to do.
Yeah.
You're right. Looking back on it, we've never really had, I think of all of Dragonflight, and outside of like season 1 with the weird, I think it was a ring or something weird with that like tower thing that you had to do in season 1 when you went to the Forbidden Isles, we really didn't have like anything that really gave increased level of power through the season. And to be honest, I think that thing in the Forbidden Isles wasn't even like that much of an upgrade. I think it was like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool, but you don't even have to get it if you.
Depend on who, right? Depend on who.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's true. I think it did depend on who it was as well. But I think for a lot of classes, at least for me, it was like, it doesn't really matter. But I think all the belts and the rings this expansion were definitely like, if you don't have them, you need to get it, basically.
Don't have it.
Because they're basically going to be BIS for a long time, and maybe even like into the next season.
Well,
so,
we had someone on Discord, right? We had someone on Discord being like, hey, season's almost over. Do I have to go get this belt thing? I'm like, just hitting max level. Is this actually needed? It
doesn't take too long to get, and it's kind of one of those things of like, it's going to definitely help you in the beginning of the season, so you might as well just spend the time to get it, right?
Mm-hmm. But right, and because we know it's going to be strong enough that at least for a while, it it will be BIS for you. The question is, will it be BIS all next season or just for like the first few weeks while you're trying to gear up? That's questionable. But we have seen what was last season's item again?
Like season 2?
No, season 1. What was the item season 1? It was
that ring.
The ring, right?
That you had to go to the what's it called for?
The Siren Isle or whatever, right? Well, we know the ring was pretty BIS for like Boomkin for the longest time this season. If it isn't still, which I think if it's not BIS anymore, it's only not BIS because like they had that extra bonus eye level jump they did this season.
Yeah.
That like may have overshadowed it. But I know for a while it was like juicy for Boomkin. And that doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel very good, but sometimes that is the case. I know for me, like if I was playing a Boomkin and I'm sitting there with that ring, but there's like higher eye level rings like that I'm looking at, you know how crappy that feels? And I know. Listen, y'all have already made fun of me for it. I get it. It's a personal flaw. I know. But I'd like my eye level to go up. And when I have to choose gear that's a lower eye level because the stats are better, I'll do it. But it makes me really sad. It makes me really sad inside. It just like, it feels like, I feel like upgrades should feel good, right? Like having a more powerful item should like always feel good. And I don't like it when I know it's stronger, but like it feels lamer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I think
makes sense.
Like the simplest way that occurs is just eye level. Is you're like, oh yeah, well the eye level on this is really good. And so that feels good because you get to see your number go up. And WoW's not a game about numbers. I know. Well, it kind of is, right? So, yeah. All that to say, I hope the belt is not this long into the season. Like, my hope is that for everybody, the belt... Because a lot of times what happens is we see the item come out. It's still too strong when the new season starts. And then they kind of, like, nerf it even further. And my hope is that, like, by the 4th month of the season... Whatever slots that is in, you're like happily getting an upgrade to replace it, right? Week 4 feels fine to me. If you're wearing it for the first handful of weeks, that's fine. Because you're going to have a lot of gear that takes time to replace. And if you have one piece that's just so good, it's going to take a good amount of extra time to replace. That's awesome. That's great. But what I don't like is when you start getting higher eye level pieces, and those higher eye level pieces can't even keep up. And you're just you're like, okay, goodness. That feels weird. That will always feel weird.
It does. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's good for the general population, but it's kind of bad for the people that like to push, right?
Yeah.
Because what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say though, like, it really depends because in the end, right? Like, if you're not pushing really hard, right, and you're doing like just let's say you're running delves and maybe a couple early M+ dungeons, right? Maybe normal raid. I feel like that's even worse because now you definitely have no shot at replacing that item from last season. I just don't think there should ever be a time where you're trying to hold on to a previous season item.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I get it if you're like, oh, hey, I just haven't found... There's like... You could be like, oh, actually, there's like 4 items in the pool this season. I just haven't gotten one of them yet. I've had bad drop luck, right? You could be like, oh, I'm still using an item from last season because I haven't had a staff drop for me. That's crappy, but RNG happens. It's extra bad, though, when you're like, oh, yeah, I haven't replaced my staff yet because no staff this season is better than the one I got last season.
Yeah, that's fair.
And if people doing like high-end content trying to get myth track slots are having that problem, imagine
that makes sense.
I mean, and we also saw that this season with I think there's a couple delve trinkets that were really good, but they like capped out at heroic, right? And so people ran around with heroic trinkets, which by the way, I'm glad delves. I know for as much crap as I give delves, I'm glad that they actually had some like drops that had like good procs on them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right.
But it does feel kind of crappy to be like, oh wow, I have this heroic thing and it's my BIS, and no mythic thing is going to be better than this. I just don't know if that, like, again, I feel like for the most part, higher eye level should feel like an upgrade, especially going between different tiers of gear, right? If you're like, oh, hey, both of these are myth track, but one's like 665 and one's 662, and the 662 one is actually such a good trinket that, like, it's better. Okay, that's fine. Okay, whatever, right? Because you can just boost that up. But if like a maxed out hero trinket is better than a maxed out mythic trinket, unless that myth trinket's terrible, right? I'm just talking like across the board, right? Like I'm just saying like, oh, this hero trinket maxed out is better than like any mythic trinket, and you can't get a mythic version of it. That feels weird. That probably feels a little
Yeah,
weird.
no, it does. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people want to be able to get mythic trinkets out of delves, but if that ever happens, that's like bad for the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, and for people who, because we've had this conversation before, anybody who missed it, our general, mine chicken's general consensus is that like we just think delves right now in their current iteration, difficulty wise, don't equate to the gear that they offer, and it's actually pushed down the quality of gear that, or pushed up, I should say, the quality of gear that drops in M plus for too easy of a difficulty. And so we think both of us would agree that we'd be fine with mythic gear dropping from delves if the difficulty of delves was cranked up to match the difficulty that you would get mythic gear from in equivalent content, right? So your delve experience, and I would say probably be a vault thing, not straight from the delve thing, right? But should be on par with like the average mythic boss fight. That would probably that would probably to me feel somewhere in that general area. But that's not the topic for today. If you want to catch that, you could listen to literally any other podcast we've ever recorded because it comes up a lot.
Oh yeah, all the time,
yeah.
dude. I feel like we easily talk about that more than anything else.
That's true.
Like honestly.
Yeah. That and our Discord moderator Bernick. Those are probably the two topics that we discussed.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm teasing Bernick because he's sitting in on the call with us today. So
that's
it's
funny.
Too fun. It's
hey,
too fun.
one last update that they made, and it's kind of it's like a weird update, but I feel like I should say it because maybe some people care, but it's like, to be honest, like I don't even know how it's gonna work, and to be honest, it doesn't really affect me at all. They're adding some kind of currency or some kind of something to make it easier to track if you've gotten your weekly like spark.
Interesting.
To me it's like, I mean, what are we really working on this? But then I guess like the way they state this Wowhead article is huge quality of life improvement for looting your weekly spark in season 3. And I'm like, this makes it seem like I was really worried about how I track to see if I get a spark this week or not. And to be honest, yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, dude. I generally don't know when I have a spark available to me or not. I don't think about it. I should though. I actually, by the way, I should be thinking about it. Yeah, I should be thinking about it a lot more than I am.
Well, maybe I'm the latter.
Yeah,
right?
because especially earlier on, dude, those are major gear upgrades. And also think about alts. I think it's more of an alt question than anything else, right? Like you make an alt. How many sparks should your alt have, right?
Yeah.
You're like 7 weeks into the season, but you don't know how many weeks it's been. You're not like keeping track, right? Like what you should be doing, especially if you're trying to gear up as efficiently as possible and not like running content you don't need to run. I think it, and I'm sure it's not hard. Like the coding side of it is probably not a huge undertaking on Blizzard's end. It's probably like it's probably like a relatively easy update that will make people very happy.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one. Give you that one.
That would be my gut. On that one at least. But we'll see. There's a Twitch drop going on, right?
What'd you say?
Do we have a? Sorry, I'm just kind of moving on.
No, there's still a Twitch drop going on. So if you haven't gotten your Twitch drops, I think there's someone streaming that might be able to get you around.
Well, I returned back to streaming myself on I'd have to check what I put on Discord because I've been working on getting my stream back up and running. I had to rip all my stuff apart when my wife moved in just to kind of make more room. At the time, my stream setup, dude, was literally in the middle of my living room.
It was like half your house.
Yeah,
was your stream setup?
Which. I loved it because it was cool, but it didn't quite work. But August 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be returning to streaming. So I got a green screen that came in the mail. Been setting that
Ooh.
up, kind of getting things. I know, dude. I always said I would never use a green screen, but I'm working on it. So if you want, feel free while we're talking about Twitch, pop in
Dude,
on
I'm excited.
August 5th. There's also an update to BOEs. What's the BOE update?
Oh yeah, we can do that real quick. It's not a huge update. Basically, the stats from BOEs are all going to be random this time around. Like in seasons past, they were always kind of fixed, but now they're just going to be completely random. The secondary stats.
Okay.
I mean, kind of cool, kind of not. I think it makes it maybe a little more viable for when you want to sell BOEs on the auction house.
Makes resale value
other
a little
than
better.
that,
I also,
other than that, it's like,
not a huge thing, but I think it's overall probably better, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to be stat specific.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an overall good change.
So we got quite a few listener questions in today. Wow, we got a lot. So I think we'll be able to get
we might not get to all of them,
but in case
we should
we can't,
at least do a few, right?
Yeah. I'm just checking to make sure none are our Patreon supporters, but I believe none are Patreon questions, correct? They're all just normal Discord?
Yes.
Perfect. I just took a quick glance.
Are you checking or should...
No, I just took a look.
Oh. So I'll just dive into them. You ready?
Perfect. Let's do this.
I mean, well, maybe you should read the first one because it's kind of a question for me.
Okay. Can Chicken do a take on going back to old raid content he never got the chance to do, like pre-Shadowlands? I've had a blast going back and doing raid content for MoP through Shadowlands since I never saw any of the raids or cinematics while mount hunting. That's a good question because, Chicken, you've been doing a lot of old content that you never did when it was fresh because you're collecting mounts. But also, I know you're not a huge lore guy, so I'm curious what your input is on that.
Yeah, this is something I've wanted to talk about for a very long time, and I just always forget to talk about it in the podcast. So I think this is a question from last week, and I really wanted to answer it last week, but I'm pretty sure Taco actually submitted 2 questions, and we had answered his other one.
That's right.
So I was like, I really want to answer this question, but I'll just wait a week, right? So I've really enjoyed it. I'm thinking about the one that I ran the most. Oh my goodness, I can't even think of what it's called. Battle of
Dazar'alor?
Yeah, Dazar'alor.
It is quite a name.
That one. Yeah, right. That one was a really good raid, and that kind of predates me a little bit, and it kind of makes me realize, like, oh my goodness, the work that they put into raids at that point in time was crazy. Like, I don't think I ever realized the splits that they did in raids, right? Where they split it, it's basically a completely different raid for, Alliance versus Horde, right?
Yes.
And
to some extent, I think, well, no, I'm trying to remember. I actually don't think it's too different. Because I think
it's not terribly different.
Because I think they just transform you. So I think there's part where you represent the Alliance players.
Yes.
And you play as, if you're a Horde, I think it transforms. Again, I don't remember. I'm not super familiar with that raid. I kind of missed it. I don't farm it a lot. But it transforms you, correct? So that way you're doing the same content, but it's just...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not 2 totally different raids, but it's like they're different enough that like Blizzard definitely had to put like thought into it, right? And that's where I'm like, I've never experienced a raid like that, and it's really neat. Like, I don't think I ever realized, like, wow, like some of these raids Blizzard actually put like a fair amount of time into them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was a really good raid. Some of the other older content, some of the dungeons are really fun, but it's just kind of cool to realize how different just the timeline and the shift of the game has been, where like, pre-Shadowlands, there was a divide, right? Between the Horde and the Alliance. And then, you jump into the game now and there's not really that divide as much, right? And I'm pretty sure we've talked about that. Like there is a divide, but it almost doesn't feel like there's a divide as much.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was ever in the game at all where there's a huge divide between Horde and Alliance. So when I go back to some of this older content, it really, shows me, oh my goodness, like there was a major divide between the Horde and the Alliance at one point, and
There really was.
it just no longer exists.
Well,
really.
even you did ICC, right? Ice Cream Citadel,
Yeah.
up to a point. And even in ICC, you have to kind of go into this like gunship battle, depending upon if you're Horde or Alliance, right? So if you're Alliance, you get up to the top of the platform and you go left, and you go down, and the Horde and Alliance are kind of at war with each other, which is the dumbest thing, by the way. Like we're trying to take on the Lich King right now, and these dorks are like fighting each other at like over top of Ice Cream Citadel. Actually, like lore wise, it doesn't make any sense to me, because at this point the Horde and Alliance were supposed to be trying to work together, but I know that tensions were still high, which was by the way though, I thought that was one of the coolest elements of Wrath of the Lich King to me as a player, was like both of them are going into Northrend trying to kill the Lich King, right? They're going in trying to kill Lich King, but they're not really totally doing together. Like Dalaran's kind of like the hub city for both of them, but even in Dalaran there's like a Horde part and an Alliance part, and you can't enter each other's sections. There's definitely plenty of tension going on, and a lot of the cinematics are even like stuff between the Horde and Alliance trying to just get along, and they can't, right? They're like at each other's throats the whole time. Freaking, that's where Garrosh kind of starts to make his rise. Is in Icecrown, not Icecrown, is in Northrend. You start to see the Horde and Alliance maybe start to make some leeway into working together, and then all of a sudden Putris just like plague bombs everybody. Right, and now nobody trusts anyone anymore. It's rumored that maybe, or maybe it's not rumored. I don't remember if it's true or not. But, a lot of people believe Sylvanas actually was very well aware the whole time, and just pretended like she didn't know that Putris was gonna, kill everybody. It's this like whole thing. Yeah, it's this whole thing.
That's a lot of lore.
It made it really cool and exciting. I just don't know. I'm not sure. Like, hey, we're all super happy friends. Lore is my like favorite. But also, like, I wanted to...
it makes sense.
But I want the tensions to feel good, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I love the...
Right.
and I don't know if I love the recent storyline of Arathor, right? Where we went to the Arathi Highlands or whatever, and they're just like, these guys are racists. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Right? Okay. Because I think I don't know, sometimes people just boil it down to that. They're like, that kind of storytelling's too dated, right? Like having these two races against each other is just it's not a good story for modern day. And it's like, no, it's a lot more complicated than that, right? Like there's this beautiful storytelling of like, this one. And by the way, when WoW first came out, the attraction of the Horde was literally, you can play the bad guys, right? Like that was the point.
Yeah, right.
You were like, whoa, we could play the bad guys. And that was like the cool thing. I'm gonna play the dirty orcs. And then now it's kind of like, nobody's really the bad guy. We're all kind of just working together. We're really good friends now. It's really nice.
Basically.
Which is fine, because I do think some growth there needs to happen. And obviously we know in Warcraft 3, Thrall was trying to build, and I know you're not tracking with me now, but Thrall was trying to rebuild the Horde in a way that was actually much more honorable, right? Like much more honorable than the demon blood driven Horde were. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, of course the humans don't trust the orcs, dude. These guys literally showed up out of a portal and then just started destroying everything for the sake of destroying everything. And then when they finally got their own sanity back, then they just started destroying everything for the sake of having a homeland, right? So and it's like, okay, well, dude, you guys literally just blew up your own planet, because that's what they did. The orcs blew up their own planet. And then actually, first they decimated the resources of their own planet, then came to our planet, then tried to go back to their planet, then blew up their own planet, then came back here in the process of blowing up their own planet. And, no wonder. Like, no wonder why we have a problem with you guys, right? Like, no wonder.
Really.
Right? Like, okay. And so it is those things. And I wish they could tell that story better. Because if you play on the Horde side, it's like, no, we're not that anymore. We're honorable now. We've gone away from that. We were corrupted and lied to by the Burning Legion. We were tricked, right? We were tricked into believing that this was good and it wasn't good. And we want to redeem ourselves, which is awesome. That's great. And I liked Garrosh as a villain because while I disagreed with a lot of his thought processes and how he did things, his motives completely made sense, right? He was this guy who grew up watching his, and I know this isn't the point of the question, but this guy who grew up watching his dad be this like mighty hero and warrior of the Horde, right? And then he comes to find out, oh wait, my dad was actually kind of a scumbag and kind of terrible, but we want the Horde to be great and mighty and awesome warriors. And but in order to do that, we need resources. And Thrall makes us live in this freaking bumhole of a land called Duratar that has no resources, no vegetation can grow there. You can barely raise boars there, right? Like we have no food, we have no water, we have no lumber. And he's like, okay, well we need these things. Either we're gonna die, or we go into Ashenvale right next door and start taking those resources from the Night Elves. The Night Elves are going to be angry, but they don't even live there. They just think of it as a holy land, but they don't actually do anything in Ashenvale. They live up in the friggin' northwest of Kalimdor. What do they care, right? So then he goes and he tries to take that lumber. But right, so like it's this whole thing where you're like, okay, I understand the tensions,
what are we doing here?
And the tensions make sense. I like those tensions. I like resource-driven tensions. I like the tension of like, okay, these things are happening. I don't love the tension of like, oh, hey, every couple expansions, the Horde gets tricked again by another evil force, and that's why they're kind of the bad guys. And because then you can't be rooting for the development of an honorable Horde when it's just like, oh, yeah, that's right, the Blood Elves, they were actually still siphoning demonic power and having problems. Oh, never mind. Sylvanas was being tricked by an evil god of the undead, and she was tricked, right? Like, her motive was literally just to kill things. Everything just had to die. That was her motive. And you're like, okay, well, that's dumb. You know, I like the resource-driven stuff. I like it when it's like, hey, look, the Horde and Alliance are at tension with each other. They don't trust each other. The initial core is that there's a resource problem, that they're trying to take each other's resources. They want land, right? All these things. These are very healthy storytelling issues, right? And then what you do is then you build in the distrust into that, right? Yo, wait, hold up, breaking news, World of Warcraft, breaking news right now. If you're watching the Patreon video recorded version of this podcast, you already know what happens, but hear me out. Breaking news. Swag has gotten Invincible's reigns. I finally did it. I've been farming this mount. Yeah, dude, I've been farming this mount the entire podcast recording. Guess who did it? I did it. I happened.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. I can quit this game now. Dude. You want to go make a podcast with me about like working out or something now?
That's pretty good.
Oh, my gosh. About freaking time, dude. You know how many times I ran this place?
Dude.
Yeah, dude. You want to know something funny? That guest we had on one time, Touchpad Warrior.
Yeah.
He has 2 Invincibles.
Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah. Or he
I think he
told
talked
us
about it on the podcast.
podcast.
Yeah. Question from Clay. Since the end of the season is upon us, what is the most chaotic or memorable Mythic Plus run you've had during Season 3 of The War Within?
Honestly, for me, I just don't know if there's any like major moments to stand out. Maybe getting KSM, KSH, all my portals is kind of cool, but the season has kind of been I don't want to say dull for me. I just felt like getting KSM and KSH was a bit easier for me this season than in the past.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't feel like I had to push as hard. Maybe doing my first 11. I'd never attempted an 11 before the season. Maybe that. But really, this season has felt a little more dull for me, which kind of sucks because I feel like it's been a really good season.
It has been. It has been. Do you feel like not rating has impacted that at all?
Probably. Yeah, probably. I think maybe there's just like a little disconnect between not rating and just my overall joy with the game, because it's been a really good season. It's just, to me, it just hasn't felt that way. And you know, I would 100% attest it to the fact that I just didn't raid.
That makes sense.
But
totally
what can you do, right?
Not much. I'll agree with you. I definitely pushed harder. And by the way, for anybody who was wondering, in the excitement of picking up Invincible's reigns, I did accidentally slam the stop recording button in OBS. I don't even know how I did it, dude. I don't even know how I stopped the recording, but somehow I stopped the recording. So if you're like, wow, that was a abrupt jump to Clay's question, that's why. Anyways, with that said, definitely agree. Pushing my keys up higher has been like a nice, memorable thing for me. First time ever pushing 12s, which has been challenging, but it's helped me grow tremendously as a player trying to do that. I would also say that for me, the most memorable, and this was a more recent one, but it was a weird one. And so, so I'm reading Brunick's question or comment on the live recording channel right now, and he's just like, "Well, time to redo the whole podcast now."
Yeah, basically. Oh my gosh.
We'll continue. For a second I was worried, but I knew I checked it at the 50-minute mark, and it was still recording then, so I knew we weren't far off. But the most memorable for me was a recent dungeon I did, and I mentioned on the podcast at the time. It's not like the craziest dungeon of all time, but it will stick in my mind as being one of those moments where somebody was a little too confident, right? And so we're in Mechagon. I'm trying to remember. I think it was only a 7. It wasn't even like an exceptionally hard Mechagon or anything. We're in like a Mechagon 7.
It was a 9.
Was it a 9? Okay, you remember the story.
Yeah, I remember you. Yeah. I remember the story very vividly.
So we're in a Mechagon 9. We're coming up on the first boss. I'm healing. And the tank just like isn't moving the boss. Like, as it's the two bosses, and the one has to go into the hammer every time his shield comes up. And he's just not moving the guy whatsoever. He's just like not moving the guy into the hammer. And so we wipe and we go back in. And during that fight, by the way, somebody was like trying to ping the hammer to show him to go, hey, go to the hammer. And the guy's just like, hey, don't ping things. I know how to do this fight. Okay. Right, Tank's very confident. He knows this fight. Tells not to ping things. Maybe he had forgotten for a second. Now he remembers. Awesome. I didn't say anything because I was just like, okay, he's probably a little embarrassed.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah, maybe he's like a little embarrassed because he like forgot how this mechanic worked, but now he remembers. Whatever. Let's just keep going. So we go back in, and I don't remember whose key it was. It might have been his. I don't remember. But we go back in. No, it was not his. So we go back in. We try again. Still, same thing happens. Dude is like not dragging the guy into the hammer at all. Like making no attempt to take him into the hammer. I think he did one time. But really it was just not doing it. And so again, we wipe. And remember, this guy had very confidently said, I know the mechanics, don't ping him. Right? I know the mechanics, don't ping him.
Yeah.
Then the dude goes, hey, why am I not able to separate the tank from the main boss? And all of a sudden, it all clicks for me. This guy knows the mechanics from like 2 years ago, before they changed the dungeon, right? And finally, someone's like, "Oh yeah, you don't separate them anymore." And he just goes, "Oh, I don't know the mechanics." And that to me was one of those moments where I was just like, "What is like?" There are moments. I think the moments in WoW that get me are the ones where I had to step back and be like, "I don't understand what's going through someone's head," right? Yeah. Those are the moments that get me. And I think that one doesn't make sense to me because I don't get why he couldn't, rather than saying, hey, don't ping things, I know the mechanics, it would have been just as easy to type, hey, what are you pinging? ? Want to make sure I'm not missing something. That's it. Like, that's right. Like, you don't have to boost your ego, right? Like, you don't have to like try and like, nobody cares. Like, in fact, if you were just like, hey, what am I like, am I missing something? That we would have gotten the boss down that second time. It was just weird. It was just like a weird. It was like I don't know, man. None of it made sense to me. I was so confused.
Yeah,
about what was
that
going on.
Yeah, and that's so, like overconfidence in my opinion. Of just like,
it's to me the ones that stand out are usually because I haven't been able to run with my friends as much this season as I think I would have preferred. And so usually,
me neither.
Usually the runs that I like love the most and remember fondly are the ones that like with buddies, right? Like the ones that like we do crazy things. We're just goofing the whole time. So most of the memorable ones right now are all the weird ones. Like, what was the other weird one? Oh, I was doing a mother load. I'm doing a mother load, and like the tank tries to go like that. Like when you first go into mother load, you can either just like run straight in, but a lot of tanks will route hard left when they first go in, and kind of route around, which is fine. It's a good route. But I don't usually do it when I'm pugging, especially on like keys under 10. Even over 10, I'm hesitant, right? And I think this was a 10. This might have been an 11. It might have been 11. I think I was healing. And so the tank goes that route. I'm following him because I've done it before. But, like, I think somebody...
felt good. Yeah,
but I see somebody else suddenly, like, butt pull. Because they didn't. They didn't hug the left. They just ran in and then turned left. when they realized everybody else was going a different direction. And so, of course, they pulled 2 extra packs, right? They pulled 1 pack, and then that pack tracked through another pack as we kept running. The tank doesn't notice. Tank has no clue. He then goes and proceeds to pull 3 packs of his own. So by the time those 2 packs get there, now we have 10 packs. Not 10, sorry, 5 packs. My math isn't always great. We have 5 packs now on us. Sure enough, we wipe. Obviously, we wipe. I'm doing everything I can, but because I started healing, right, they started attacking me. I get destroyed before the pack even gets really to the tank. And I'm holding tight to the tank. Like I'm not like keeping distance away from him.
Right,
and
you're
all
doing
of a sudden,
what you need
dude,
to do, right?
this one dude just starts like I think it might have been the tank, but it might have been his buddy. Like I think we had invited them as a group. Starts like raging about how bad my heals were. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? And they're like, we can't do this with this healer. And I'm like, guys, you pulled 5 packs before like half the group was even there.
Right. And you're just like,
there's
okay.
not like I can't save you from that.
Yeah, right.
And it's hard too because like again, I ran like other dungeons prior to that with absolutely no issue healing, right? Like it wasn't like I was like no issue healing. Healing's such a funny thing because when you're healing, like different groups are just different. Like sometimes you'll run with a group and it's the easiest healing experience of all time. And then sometimes you'll run with a group and it's like an absolute nightmare. But that's probably
this is awful. Yeah.
Those 2 runs for me are probably the most notable. We got a comment or a question from Johnny Tips. I always like Johnny's questions. He got good questions. He said, challenge mode delves. What do you think of that idea, but only in solo mode from the last pod? Oh, Chicken wrote that from the last podcast. That's right. We weren't able to get to this question last time. Solo mode challenge content.
Challenge mode, so like you're against like another person, basically.
I don't know if it would be against another person, although that could be cool. That could be a nice twist. As much as it is like, what's the equivalent to like an M+, right? But for solo content, the problem is like right now off the top of my head, I don't know how Blizzard would pull it off, but I like the idea. And so if they can find a way to do it
that
well,
would be kind of cool, to be honest.
The only reason why I say how to pull it off well is because, again, delves have the trickiness, and it's probably the reason why delves don't actually scale up that high ultimately, is they have the trickiness of being like, how do you make it equally difficult for a tank, healers, and DPS? Because that's true. Yeah, because in M+, they don't have to be equivalently difficult for all those roles.
No.
They should be. Let me clarify. They should be. But because you're playing as a team, if it's more difficult on one role in particular, it's not the end of the world because you always have to have that role in your group. And so it's group-based content, so it falls on everybody ultimately.
Yeah, basically.
It does, so it does become a little bit trickier when you think about it in the context of like solo content. But if they could pull it off, or some type of time trial, or even to your point, Chicken, I like the idea of like, no, actually, it's competitive challenge, which I think a lot of people would hate because I think people who love delves don't want to be interacting with other players in any capacity, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
But I think that would make it unique, right? If we were gonna say what would make it the most unique, would be like, oh, actually 2 players go into a delve at the same time, and you have like a little map on your screen that shows you where the other person's at. That would be cool. Again, though, I think this for the same reason a lot of people who delves hate M+. It will add more stress to the run.
Yeah,
it might not be enjoyable. I wouldn't be opposed though to like infinitely scaling delves, right?
The only
problem with infinitely scaling content is that if you don't have a timer on it, it can get into a really weird spot where it's like, oh, well, so-and-so was able to do this because they spent 3 days in this delve without logging out, right? Like the only reason why they were able to pull this off is because they did this. So at some point you need a timer, but maybe it's a very forgiving timer, right? Like maybe it's not a timer of like, yo, you have to race against the clock as much as it's like, hey man, dude, if you can't do it within this time, just restart, right? Like,
that's probably fair.
But I would be totally okay with I think I would love a challenge mode delve. But again, how do you make a challenge mode delve that still makes it enjoyable to people who like doing delves? And how do you make a challenge mode delve that doesn't just eliminate what delves currently are, because that's kind of what M Plus did, right? Once you had M Plus,
Yeah.
LFG dungeons just kind of became moot, right?
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point, man.
What do you think, Chicken? What are your thoughts on challenge delves?
I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I like the player versus player kind of thing, like who could do it faster. I think that's kind of cool. I'm not, I think, to be honest, I think delves need like a good aspect to make you play with other people. I think that would make them funner. If they just do like a time trial, I personally, I don't think that would make it any funner, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm not really like a time trial kind of guy. But if I was like, hey, I get to face someone like to see who can do a dungeon or a delves faster, yeah, that's kind of neat. Like I'd be down for that, right?
Well, that's the tricky part. Is like for you and I think that would be way more fun. I'm also trying to think through the person who normally would prefer to do delves, and I struggle to see them being like, yeah, I want to be competitive against somebody else. I think the reason why they do delves is so that they don't have to do that.
I mean, I agree, but that's one of those like I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't moments where it's like,
sure, right? What would you
at the end of the day?
Yeah,
like, yeah, like to me, at the end of the day, like if they're gonna put something in the game for delves, in my opinion, I think it needs to attract more people to delves, because I think the people already doing delves like delves the way they are, right? I don't think they're like Blizzard needs to change delves. No, they're like, no, Blizzard delves are great, like we like them, right? I think it's a community of people that are like, hey, we don't like delves, that Blizzard's like, hey, we want to target you, right?
Well, I guess it's difficult too, because it's like, if I don't like delves, should Blizzard want me to do delves? Now, if I'm going into WoW and I'm like, there's nothing to do, okay,
yeah,
right? But if I'm going into WoW and I'm just like, yo, I love raiding, I love M plus, I don't like doing delves, I think that's a totally fine place to be. If you're going to WoW and you're like, true. I love delves and I hate M plus, I think that's totally fine. I think that's a totally fine place to be, because you have something.
Yeah.
Right? I guess if I could be selfish, I think delves that you compete against other players to see who can finish it faster together. Not like, oh, hey, here's someone else's time, can you beat it? But like, no, actually, you guys are both in there live at the same time. You can see their progress on like a little bar on the side of the screen or something.
Yeah.
And you can see your progress in the bar next to theirs. That to me would be fun. But again, I think that would, for people who actually like delves, I think that would be less fun. So that's the trade-off, right? Yeah. For me, it'd be more fun. I think for them, it'd be less fun, because again, it adds that kind of anxiety of like, oh, now you're going to be watching your own progress compared to somebody else's. But if I can have my way, that's what it would be.
That's true.
All right,
that's true.
Oh no, we got two more questions. Question from Carb: how hard is Sylvanas going to show up in Midnight? The lore of it could be insane. Imagine the final phase of fighting Xal'atath, and we're all down bad, and it's a cutscene. Xal'atath says, "None of you can defeat me." A portal opens up with a black arrow coming through, chaining her to the ground. We hear, "Can't I?" Boom. Sylvanas walks through. What are your thoughts?
Sure.
Chicken's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, sure, like, Sylvanas is cool, but, like, what does she do? I mean, we fought her in Sanctum. That's all I know of her. I don't know, like, anything else about her. Dude, I'm telling you, lore and me are not friends.
All right, we're running short on time, so I'll give you the quickest debrief of it.
Oh gosh.
The short end is that everything goes back to Arthas, right? So yeah. Sylvanas was the Ranger General for the High Elves. Think Blood Elves, but less corrupted. Okay, so the High Elves. And when Arthas attacked Arthas Menethil, right, in the process of turning into Lich King, he wasn't the Lich King yet, I don't believe. I think he was still in the process of becoming Lich King. He attacks Silvermoon, the city of the High Elves, which is now the city of the Blood Elves. He attacks them with his undead army. Sylvanas is in charge of defending the city. In the process, she dies, and to mock her, because she was a difficult opponent, to mock her, he raises her as a Banshee. Eventually, though, at some point, I think it's when Illidan fights Arthas, I think. I'm trying to remember. But at some point, the Lich King's control of the undead kind of almost like falters for a second. and he loses like a large chunk of the undead army of the Scourge. And when that happens, Sylvanas gets her freedom along with some of the other undead, and she becomes their leader. And like, that becomes the Forsaken that are a part of the Horde now. That's how they join the Horde. So Sylvanas was this like legendary figure to the Forsaken. She is their like queen. They love her. They cherish her. They will follow her anywhere. Until we find out in Shadowlands that all the terrible things that she was doing during BFA. Sylvanas was always like a little sketchy in the stuff she did, but that was kind of the charm of the undead, was they kind of did sketchy things. Like that was kind of their thing, was doing sketchy things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, they're freaking undead after all. Like, of course they're doing sketchy things, right? They better still be doing sketchy things, right? How boring would WoW be if the undead weren't doing sketchy things? But with that being said,
true.
They found out that the really, really sketchy things that Sylvanas was doing during BFA, burning down Teldrassil, making the Horde wage random wars that logically just didn't make sense, was because the jailer was telling her to do it, essentially, right? And so that kind of right now, like the Forsaken don't trust her. So the thing with Sylvanas, to answer your question now, though, Carb, I just don't know. I don't know what value there would be in bringing her back at that time. I think Sylvanas is an awesome character. I want her to return, but I want her return to feel meaningful. And I know her sister right now. So Illyria, is it Illyria that we're... Which one's fighting Zaldath? Is it Illyria?
I don't know.
I believe so. Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Illyria. I always get the sisters confused. So you have Sylvanas, you have Illyria, and then you also have, as well, oh gosh, what's her other sister? Varisa. Varisa's the other one. So those are like the three Windrunner sisters. They had a brother, but he's dead. So anyways, Illyria, who's chasing down Zalatath, she's Sylvanas' sister. But despite being Sylvanas' sister, there's not really a whole big reason for Sylvanas to show up and attack Zalatath. The one reason why we might see Sylvanas show up in Midnight, potentially, is because it does look like Midnight is going to facilitate some sort of reconnection of the elves, right? So like the High Elves, the Blood Elves, maybe even the Void Elves, right? Kind of coming back together in Silvermoon City. Don't know. I don't really know if we're going to see that same connection also include the Nightborn, although the Nightborn kind of are already close with the Blood Elves. But especially I don't know about the Night Elves. I just don't know if the Night Elves will really want... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Silvermoon was never really their home to begin with. The Night Elves and the Blood Elves feel so far removed that one feels hard to me. High Elves obviously are related to the Blood Elves. Void Elves are obviously related to the Blood Elves. And the Nightborn, although just as distant technically as the Night Elves, they are culturally more similar, and they are a part of the Horde. So we'll see. I could see maybe in that, but again, I think Sylvanas will return. They didn't kill her off. She's not dead. She's just doing something. And I do hope she returns. Sylvanas is a genuinely really interesting character. Very fascinating. Very cool lore-wise. But I just don't know if that's the moment. When she comes back, it needs to feel like she needs to be back. When Sylvanas left the lore, people were very tired of Sylvanas, which is a bummer because she's an awesome character. So when she comes back, people need to be like hyped for her to come back. Like it needs to be like when Illidan returned and people were hyped for Illidan. It needs to be hyped for Sylvanas to return.
Oof.
Yeah, that's what I have to say about
difficult.
that. Yeah, it would be hard, but I think they can do it. It's just gonna be hard. All right, last question coming in from Baba Booey McGee. He says, "In what way has World of Warcraft's progressive shift towards a seasonal content model contributed to the diminishing presence of its core role-playing game RPG elements, and what have been the broader negative impacts of this transition on player engagement, community cohesion, and long-term game identity?"
Bro, I did not read this question beforehand, but I feel like this is one of those questions that I would have to read beforehand.
Makes sense.
I don't know. What are your first thoughts?
Yeah, maybe I'll help spark.
Because again,
things.
This is hard for me to answer because I don't really know a game outside of the seasonal content model that I've kind of been thrown into, right?
Yeah. And it also depends on what we mean by seasonal content model. So if seasonal content model simply just means that they're putting out new content every season, in that regard, I don't think it has any effect on being an RPG game, right? With that said, I think what the writer here of the question means is like M+ content specifically, right? And raid content specifically, which raid seasonally has been a thing forever. That's been a thing basically as long as WoW's been around. And so that one's hard to like contract, but I will say over time it has shifted more towards like, oh, new season started, here's the new gear caps, here's the new things you go towards. I will say I think it makes a more fun and engaging gaming experience. I actually personally I prefer it this way. I will say though it does affect the RPG elements in some ways, in the sense of like you don't have this character that you've been like working on forever. And because you've been working on it forever, it's like super powerful compared to everybody else, right? I can make a character today, and by the end of the season, it's pretty much on par with everybody else, right? So that amount of time equals power is a little bit more skewed. On the bright side, though, it also means that if somebody wants to get into WoW today, it means that they have hope of catching up, right? It means that like they're not going to make a character today and now have to go through 20 years of gaming content in order to finally catch up. They'll be able to catch up quickly. True. I think also it's worth noting that gameplay-wise, I don't think there's an MMO out there gameplay-wise that's on par with World of Warcraft in terms of what it like offers gameplay, right? I'm not talking about storytelling. I'm not talking about the RPG element specifically. I just mean like M+ content is so refined. Raiding content right now is so refined. Like it's so good. And that's the problem though that they run into, is that Blizzard's actually created a phenomenal gaming experience in M+ and in
that's
raiding.
Pretty true.
Yeah, right? Like I'll log in just to run some M+ because it's so fun. Like I actually go like, dude, I want to do that. Like it's just fun. That I do think that affects the RPG bit a little bit, where it kind of removes it from it. I think ultimately though, I think the thing that's hurt it the most isn't the seasonal content experience. I actually think it's the leveling experience.
Really?
I think the leveling experience, right? Because having great endgame content and seasonal content is fine. You can have an awesome RPG, MMORPG built off that. Totally fine. No issue whatsoever. Now, if you want a solo RPG experience, then yeah, maybe this isn't the game for you. That's fine. It's an MMORPG. It's not just an RPG, right? But I do think the leveling experience right now is not conducive. And I think it's really easy to level up in WoW and not feel like you're playing an RPG at all.
Yeah, easily. 100%. Oh, yeah.
And then, and then by that point, you're not going to see any of the RPG elements. And again, you can't force somebody to treat WoW like an RPG who doesn't want to treat WoW like an RPG just because you love it. Like, I love the RPG side of WoW. I can't make Chicken play it as an RPG, right? That's not what he wants.
True.
And so it is hard, but I do think the leveling experience, we've talked about a little bit. We've talked about on the podcast. We've talked about on Discord recently. I do think the leveling experience probably needs to shift in order for WoW to feel like an RPG again, where you feel like your character's development is meaningful. You feel like you're actually exploring the world. If I was to say this would be the fix to like make WoW feel more like an RPG, I don't think it's about changing endgame. I think it's about changing starting game, right? Rebuild the leveling experience 1 to 60. I've talked about it before. Rebuild the leveling experience 1 to 60 based on classic WoW, right? I would just redo all the original zones. I know you won't be able to go back and visit them. Who cares? Let Chromie take you there in time walking so you can go visit it if you want. But not for leveling, just to visit. But redo the original zones. Have all the races have their own starting zones again. Some of them joined if they have to be joined starting zones. And multiple options for each level section, right? So multiple spaces for 10 to 20, multiple spaces for 20 to 30, right? Just like Classic, maybe a little bit faster than Classic, though, right? It should feel like a little bit more streamlined. But the leveling experience is where the RPG feeling of WoW needs to be created. And if it doesn't exist there, you can't shove it in endgame, right? If you're not starting with it, you can't bring that element into the game later on. You have to start with the RPG side of WoW. And right now, the RPG side of WoW is leveling, and it sucks. It's just like,
yeah, it doesn't feel good.
it's too fast. You don't know what's going on. You're not finishing any of the stories that you're starting. You're just rushing to space. And by the way, for players who want to ignore it all and just rush from spot to spot, that should always be an option. Like, I'm doing questing in literally recording right now. I'm doing questing in the Mists of Pandaria starting zone with my panda to unlock the dragon. And I'm literally reading it, none of the quest text, doing none of things, because I just want to get them out. Now, granted, I did this back in the day when Pandaria was live, so I just don't care to do it again. I just want to get my dragon out and get out of here, right? So that should always be an option, but it shouldn't be the main option. Right now, it feels like the main option, just rushing through. So that would be my thing. My thing is the RPG starts with the start game, not the end game.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah. Well, that is everything this week for the Warband podcast. If you want to support us, please go check out our Patreon. Yes, we could absolutely use the support, especially as we're slowly making our way towards video content for the podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
Which is what we're working on right now. I believe our 52nd episode will be a special one recorded live together, so we're excited for that.
Magic.
It's going to be fun. We have a little studio we're going to use to record that one. And so if you can support us on Patreon, that would be awesome. You get bonus content on Patreon, as well as we will be often recording the podcasts live like we did today on Patreon for you to listen in and ask questions or leave comments live. And then, of course, if you want to hang out, chat with us, do whatever, you can find us on Discord in the link below or to the side or above or wherever it is on your app. And then the last thing that I want to bring up, and I don't think we've ever really talked about this before, and maybe we need to talk about more. We love creating this podcast. We love creating content for you. We're excited about the podcast and the future of the podcast, and we want more people to be able to hear about it and listen in and enjoy what you're enjoying right now. So if you could just leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on, if that platform allows for reviews,
that'd be kind of cool.
Please do so. Please, absolutely.
A positive review.
We would love, yes, yeah, we would love 5-star reviews. But be honest, you don't lie for our sake. I mean, unless you want to. But really, though, it would just be so helpful for those reviews to go out, so that these platforms know how to promote our content and where to suggest our content at. But everybody, thank you so much for listening, and we will be back next week, unless you're a Patreon listener, and then we'll have bonus content for you soon enough.
Yeah, buddy.